What is the direction? Oh, I hear you. You want me to let you know when we're going to do that? Let you know? You don't have to set it up. We're not going to do it now.
Hot Water Wrestling back on YouTube and just checking in with everybody. Like I said in my last video, sorry I was gone for so long, I guess. I've already said that. Came back on to just make a video about what I think is going on in the wrestling world today, of what I've seen in the wrestling world today. Boy, my face has gotten fat. Gotta start losing some elbows, guys. Gained a little bit of weight here recently, so haven't been in the gym as much. Starting the show. Very bad, very bad. Fat bastard. Actually, I'm not too fat, though. 6 foot, 215, 20 pounds. Should be down to about 205 is where I should be. But anyways, back to wrestling. The Hardys. Oh my God. I mean, who saw this coming? Now, I know you're going to say, oh, I saw this coming, but did you really see all of this coming? I mean, that's a lot coming, isn't it? I mean, Matt Hardy has just gone off the deep end. I guess Jeff is getting his second chance. I have not been watching TNA wrestling religiously over the last few months, so I don't know everything that's going on in that company, but it just seems to still be just wobbling and floundering around. You know, Kurt Angle got in his little bit of trouble. It just seems the trouble follows that company a lot. But back to the Hardys, man. Talk about two guys, and I know I made a video on this a couple months ago about the Hardys, particularly about Jeff Hardy. But now I can include both the Hardys for sure, even more so. But both of these guys, they had the world by the balls. I mean, they had everything going for them, especially Jeff Hardy, of course, was a much bigger star than Matt Hardy. Matt was better served in the tag team division, or when they had ECW, I thought he was a nice fit for ECW champion. Even though I would have liked to back then, just for the hell of it, see Matt Hardy get a title reign, WWE or World. I didn't think it would happen, but you look at Christian, and here's a guy who never really established himself as a singles performer, a main event, bona fide main event, singles performer, until he really did go to TNA. Yes, he could have wrestled in some main events against the champion when he was in WWF back in the day after him and Edge split up. But really, he was not a solidified, bona fide singles competitor in the WWE main eventer. I mean, he was a bona fide singles competitor, not a bona fide main eventer in the WWE. Until now that he's come back and he's just doing that. He still hasn't even, only his, the fact that he has a legacy behind him and his past credentials do make him a bona fide main eventer in the company at this point, because of course he's not someone like a Jack Swagger or a Wade Barrett getting main event push where they really don't have anything behind them, or Sheamus. You know, is Sheamus a bona fide, solidified main eventer? Is he a draw? Is he someone who makes you want to order a pay-per-view? Almost, right? He could be there in a few years. You know, Edge really plowed his path after Christian had left for the most part. Edge became a solidified superstar main event. That's not really the point. You know, if Matt Hardy could have hung in there, would he maybe have been able to do that? That was the whole reason I brought all that up. But Jeff Hardy, on the other hand, became a bona fide main event talent in the WWE. And his career came crashing down like a ton of bricks. And frankly, the walls of his life around him. And now it seems the same thing is happening to Matt Hardy. I know a lot of people out there could give two shits about these guys, and there's a lot of negative remarks. Now, I'm not a super Hardys fan or anything, but I've always enjoyed watching them work. I thought they were original and unique, and kind of a one of the kind team. There were times I hated them, but that's okay. You always want to hate people in wrestling. That's what wrestling's about: choosing sides, picking your favorites, hating certain guys. That's the fun of wrestling. Part of the fun. So, they're always good to have around. They were unique, and they were like an old school tag team. And even though they went into singles competition, the both of them pretty much kept the same look. They look like they belong together, is what I'm trying to say, even in singles competition when Jeff was winning all those titles, and they were on different brands even. But it's just, wow. That just goes to show you that the choices you make in life are extremely important, and how certain things can just turn around on you in an instant, on a dime. So you got to stay on top of your shit. And I just want to wish both these guys luck. I don't know if this is the popular, unpopular thing to do, but I'm doing it. I wish them all the best, and I hope they get their lives back on track. And I hope to see the Hardys again soon. The WWE, wow. I don't think I commented on SummerSlam on here. I enjoyed the pay-per-view. I thought Money in the Bank is probably going to be the best pay-per-view of the year. Unless something really outstanding happens. But, Survivor Series was a lot of fun, very entertaining. But then, let's go to our most recent Night of Champions, that's what it's called. The Night of Champions, wow. Mark Henry, the World Heavyweight Champion. Never really saw that coming. I know this is probably kind of a bridge push, I like to call them. Kind of a term I made up, a bridge push, where they're bridging the gap to get to Survivor Series or even the Royal Rumble, to where they're going to really start the big angle, which is going to carry them into WrestleMania. There's been a lot of rumors The Rock is going to make an appearance at the Survivor Series. I know that's not 1,000% confirmed, but there is a heavy rumor about that. I thought the Royal Rumble would have been a very good way for The Rock to come back. Before CM Punk had this feud with Cena, when he won the title and he left after Money in the Bank. Let's pretend he would have stayed gone until the Royal Rumble. This is kind of a fantasy booking I'm getting into here. If he would have stayed gone after the Royal Rumble, up until the Royal Rumble, he could have made his comeback at the Royal Rumble, got in the ring. This would be if John Cena were champion, okay? Let's pretend John Cena's champion, Royal Rumble 2012. Got in the ring, everyone was like, oh my God, Punk's back. He's going to win this Royal Rumble and face John Cena at WrestleMania. We can see it coming. And then The Rock enters the Royal Rumble. And CM Punk is eliminated by The Rock. And therefore, it's a Rock Cena WWE Championship match. Or CM Punk wins the Royal Rumble, The Rock doesn't enter the Rumble, and now you're thinking it's going to be a triple threat for the WWE Championship until Cena loses the title right before WrestleMania. And I will say something, all of that was thought out way better a couple of days ago, and I kind of botched that whole fantasy booking. That was kind of weak, but you understand what I mean. My whole point is that the Royal Rumble, I think, this year is going to be very exciting, and I think they're going to use that. And I always saw The Rock somehow being involved in the Royal Rumble and the WWE Championship looming somehow. Even if they tease a WWE Championship match between Cena and between The Rock, and it doesn't happen, it'll still be fun. The ride, getting there, will be fun. The Rock could always win the WWE title at an event. Maybe he could win it at Survivor Series and have a little run before WrestleMania. I highly doubt that'll happen. But if the Rock would just wrestle up until, say, if he did WrestleMania, if he did Backlash, which is called something else now, maybe one other, but WrestleMania and Backlash, and then came back at SummerSlam. You know, I don't see why he couldn't at least hold the title for a month at Backlash, up until Backlash, or what? Or he could win at the Royal Rumble and wrestle through Backlash and lose it at Backlash. We'll just have to see. You know, the thing with Cena versus The Rock at WrestleMania, and forgive me, I know this video is all over the map, but the thing about Cena versus The Rock at WrestleMania is there's just got to be something more to it than the two of them fighting each other, because at least us smart wrestling fans, and I think a lot of casual wrestling fans, even get all get the feeling that The Rock's not going to be around, so why would they put The Rock over Cena at WrestleMania? How does it behoove them? The logical answer would have to be that John Cena is going to win the match. I highly doubt the match is going to be a draw. I highly doubt The Rock, is going to get disqualified or it's going to be a botched finish or whatever. Not a botched finish, but a screwball finish. It's WrestleMania. It's Hogan, The Rock. That was a great match. No title was on the line. They had a great match, but the difference between Hogan and The Rock was, at the time, those guys were in wrestling, and that match mattered to them. As a fan, when I see The Rock versus Cena on the card, I'm thinking that, wrestling, not that wrestling doesn't matter to The Rock, it does matter, but it doesn't matter to The Rock's career in the sense that he's not in wrestling full time in order to go after a championship or have any real goals in his career as a wrestler, that the match has any huge stipulation. When Hogan fought The Rock had something to prove. And Hogan had something to prove because Hogan wasn't really ready to retire, and he wanted to show that he could still beat the young guy, and The Rock wanted to beat the legend. And on the main stage of WrestleMania, there was a lot on the line that match. It was massive. And this match is so cool, and I can't wait to see The Rock in person. Or how I should say, I can't wait to see WrestleMania in person, and just experience the event. And I'll be excited no matter what. But I just have the feeling that the WWE, if they have any sense at all, is going to add some weight to this match. Because I think a lot of people, even who aren't big wrestling fans or maybe haven't watched wrestling in 10 years, may tune in to see The Rock versus John Cena. They're going to get a few newbies, for sure, watching that. So I know I've been talking to big-time wrestling. I can't get on here and talk about some of the smaller stuff because I just have been really busy. I haven't watched too much wrestling since SummerSlam, which hasn't really been that long, but just kind of been out of the loop a little bit. But I hope you enjoyed my video, and I see you next time on Hot Water Wrestling. Cheers.